Now here's yet another fantastic cookie to make at home. Flat, crisp, and made with graham flour. Graham crackers can be used to make s'mores, a crumb base for your favorite cream pie, or they can be enjoyed simply on their own. Graham flour, this is what it looks like. It's kind of a grayish brownish color. It's named after the American Presbyterian minister, Reverend Sylvester Graham. He was an early advocate for dietary reform, and he had high hopes of diverting people away from the less healthy, refined white flour. So in honor of Reverend Graham, we're going to show you how to make your own graham crackers. And graham flour is whole wheat flour that is more coarsely ground. So for the crackers themselves, 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1/3 of a cup of light brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of best honey. So good. 1 egg. Cream that all together. You can add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt and your dry ingredients, 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. If you try to make these crackers out of all graham, they would just be too strong tasting and pretty dry. So that's 3/4 of a cup of graham flour. Don't forget the baking powder, 1/4 of a teaspoon, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. These work very well. I make them every summer up in Maine because I have an outdoor fire and we make s'mores and tell ghost stories. And you need 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Whisk that all together and add your dry ingredients. This is a roll cookie. You're going to roll the dough, but we're going to do it between 2 pieces of parchment paper for very easy technique. And now you can release the beater. And now I'll show you how to roll it out. Now, have you ever wondered why graham crackers have holes in them? Well, I have, but it's really because when they're baking, they need to release steam. Otherwise, they would get bubbles in them, and you want crackers to be nice and flat. So here's the dough. It's come together very nicely. And we want to roll this out in a nice flat rectangle. And rolling it out between these sheets of parchment really helps get it nice and flat. And you're going to chill this until it's rigid. And like pie dough, you should really roll in one direction and then in another direction. There, that's nice. Put it on a cookie sheet. You can put this right in the freezer and get it nice and rigid. So now, here is the stiff dough. Just peel away the top parchment. And using a straight edge, we are going to cut this into nice squares, but dock it first. This is a docking tool to make holes evenly spaced. And this will keep the crackers nice and flat during baking. And we're going to use, for the edges, this little pie cutter and pull away the little crumbs. If you want to make some really pretty, unusual desserts, you can make star graham crackers. You can do Christmas trees. For Maine, of course, we're in the woods with spruce trees, and here we have a nice cookie cutter. But I am in the process here of making crackers. And now we're ready to cut into squares. So always start by dividing your dough in half, and then in half again. They are so beautiful. And I think I can only get 3 out of it this way. I will cut this into thirds. That's pretty good. So now get this right back into the freezer and get it rigid again, and you're going to then bake them. So here we have a batch that's very nicely chilled. So what you want is to respace these and get them right back on a cookie sheet and bake them on parchment in a preheated 350-degree oven for approximately 12 to 14 minutes. And you can rotate the crackers halfway through the 12 minutes. Now, if your cracker is sticking, and these are sticking a little bit, just take the offset spatula and run right under the crackers. They come up nicely. They release perfectly from the parchment. And there. Just make sure you get these into the cookie sheet and into your preheated oven. So here are the graham crackers, and once you taste one of these crackers, you'll never go back to the store-bought variety again. And remember, these are great for s'mores, they're great for ice cream sandwiches, they are great for dipping in milk, and cut into animal shapes, they would be the perfect animal crackers.